Well, have you got joy? Many of you know that back on December 6th, I lost my husband, and I will admit for the last so many months, there hasn't been much joy. I was very, very angry with God. I've told many people that. I have no fear of saying it. I was angry. And it's only been in the last couple of weeks where all of a sudden I thought, God woke me up one night, and I call it a God incident, but God talked to me about where I should be going and what I was doing. And I suddenly realized that there's something out there for me, but I didn't really know what it was. You didn't see me baking pies very often. I like to sell them. I don't enjoy baking them. I wasn't doing much of anything. I had my shows on TV lined up every day, and that's about what I was doing. But this, all of a sudden, God gave me something to think about. And I noticed that things started happening that I never expected. I was visiting with Debbie. We would go to see Bob in the nursing home. Now, I am not one to visit nursing homes. I will admit I will go at Christmas when we would go caroling, but I didn't find it something I enjoyed. I went with her, and of course I couldn't talk to Bob very much, but there was this little lady in a wheelchair in the hallway, and her name is Sandy, and she and I have become great friends. She talks, she's amazing, doesn't make sense a lot, but you can carry on a conversation. And I have had a wonderful time meeting with her, and then I realized you can go into other rooms and say hello to people, and all of a sudden a whole new world has opened up that I never expected. And I actually look forward to going over there as much as Debbie's doing. So that is something that's really given me some joy, and I know there's a light in Sandy's eyes too. But it didn't stop there. God keeps pointing out little things along the way. I noticed that on Tuesdays there's a food pantry at the senior center. I had never been to it, but one day a friend brought home the things that she brought, and I was amazed at how the vegetables looked like they'd been there for 10 years, and a couple of loaves of bread, and I thought, well, that doesn't seem like a food pantry that I would want to go to. So God gave me an idea, and I thought I would share it with you. I know a lot of you bring in garden vegetables and leave them here for everybody here, but it would be nice to drop them over there so that those people could have something. So you might keep that in the back of your mind. And then I said to Jabitha, well, we have all these pies. Now, we don't always use them, but wouldn't it be nice to occasionally give a few of those smaller pies to the food pantry and share from the church? Without a cost, just share from the church. And then it went to, well, maybe we could give a couple of pies to the nursing home, because obviously they don't get home-baked goods either. So it went from there, and it kept going. And all of a sudden I realized there's so many possibilities for giving without receiving. For giving without receiving. We don't have to sell everything. We can be part of a community that allows us to share what we have. Before that major storm yesterday, I was driving down 184, and there's a church on the road there. It's a big community Baptist church or something. They were lined up outside right before the rain hit, holding bags of food. And the signs everywhere were free food. That's it, just free food. Come and get a bag of food. And I thought, what? And they were happy, and they were laughing, and they were full of joy. And I thought, what a better way to do it, just hand out food. So I'm beginning to think of other things that I would like to do, and I'm sure that if you put your head to it, you could too. For it's in the giving we receive. To get the full value of joy, you must have someone to share it with. Nothing else in all life is such a maker of joy and cheer as the privilege of doing good. The best things to do with the best things in life is to give them away. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. And those who are happiest are those who do the most for others. Joy multiplies when it is shared among friends, but grief diminishes with every division that is life. There have been in this church a few ambassadors that I can think of. You all remember Shirley Anderson. Shirley's the one that got me to come to church. Because I had been here in the summer. And the summer's a little strange sometimes. You have visiting ministers and not always things that you know. And if you're a Methodist from the Midwest and you come to the East and walk into a congregational church and they're up here with a blackboard doing something, Jim and I took one look and we said, okay, we probably won't be here again. Because first of all, we didn't even know what the congregational brand was. And we were a little reluctant to even step in the door. But we came back, I guess because of fall and maybe the nursery school. And Shirley met us at the door. Now, if you've ever met Shirley, she could sell ice to an Eskimo. She is so joyful to be part of this community. She loved being here, and she loved sharing it. And before 20 minutes was over, we were sold on the fact that this is where we needed to be. Now, how many of you have that kind of joy where you can't wait to share the opportunity to come here? That you bring a friend to church, or that you meet someone at the door and just say, wow, we would love to have you, and come join us in Hewitt Hall, and let's talk. Or how many of you know everybody who's in the room right here? This is our community. This is our community of faith. Therefore, we should be the family and know every single person that walks in here or what they did. I know Jim was like that. He loved being at the front door. He loved getting people to their seat, and I know he enjoyed bringing them into Hewitt Hall so that they could learn a little bit about us and maybe meet someone along the way. How many of you do that on a regular basis? You know, I know we take great pride in being New Englanders, but there are people who are just waiting to hear from you. And that joy that you have to be here on a Sunday morning to worship God, that should be something that just pops right out of you. Anyway, as far as what kinds of things you could do, I've decided it's my mission now to give everything away. I'll give it away with the baby in the bathwater. In September, I've decided to have a back-to-school barbecue in the front lawn. It'll be the day of Stonefest, so we have people at the pie sale, but we have people here. But we're going to give away hot dogs. We are going to give away hot dogs because we don't need to charge for that fund. I will be donating the hot dogs, and we're going to be out there, and let's just do it because it's free, and maybe people will say, oh, okay, that's kind of exciting, and come up and visit with us. I also thought maybe we should look at things like giving some of our books away downstairs, because we probably have 1 million children's books, so they don't all have to be sold, but some of them could be just given to some of the children here that need them. And that's something I would like to do. I mentioned the pies, giving them various places, not for sale all the time, just because. And then finally, this is gonna upset a lot of people. I, for the last probably 20 years, have wanted to have a Christmas dinner. Now, but always the remark is, well, I have Christmas with my family. Well, of course you do. So I even mentioned it last week to someone and they said, oh yeah, we could do that. Let's have it on the 18th or the week before. And I said, no, the idea is to have Christmas on Christmas because there are many people in this town who are probably alone on that day. So between now and then, I plan to publicize the idea. It doesn't mean we have to be here all day. You could bring your family. We could have a brunch. Then you could go home and celebrate whatever way you want to. But the idea is to bring people here and let them share in the community of faith. And that's all the things that God has been telling me to do. And I wanted to share them this morning with you. Because we all have excuses. No time. And boy, that's a big one. No skills. I can't do that. God doesn't call equipped. God equips the called. God doesn't call the equipped. God equips the called. Moses didn't think he was a leader, but God worked through Moses to bring Israel out of Egypt. David was the youngest and therefore the most insignificant of all his brothers. But God worked through David to defeat a giant and to become a king. And Peter started off killing Christians before meeting Jesus and went on to become highly regarded. He was a regarded writer and a church planter throughout the time he lived. God doesn't want to work through you. God wants to work in you. And finally, something happened this week that had never happened to me before. We studied Jonah last Sunday in church. We were talking about a whale, and one of the young men in the class, fascinated by sea creatures, and I thought, okay, I invited him to go to the aquarium. Now, for me to take an 8-year-old to an aquarium in the summer was a challenge, and I'll admit, I was filled with trepidation, needless to say. We got there, and first of all, I've seen the lines, because if you go to the nursing home, you see how the aquarium line goes down the road. Oh, they park in several lots. But we got there early, and because it was raining, it really wasn't quite that bad. It was wet, but there was still plenty of room to see things and do things. And I was tricked into feeding a manta ray, which I never had any intention of doing. But we were able to get through everything. And with joy on his face, he was so excited to be part of that. But what really got to me was when we sat down in a little cafe, and I watched, and he turned to the lady behind him, and he said, "Are you having a good time?" The look on her face, well, she engaged him immediately in conversation. And I was just thrilled. I sat there and I thought, out of the mouth of babes. He was just, "Are you having a good time? Did you like this? Did you see that?" And then following that, he was great. He got to pet lizards. He got to do everything. And we were going to stop for lunch at McDonald's. Now, I pulled into McDonald's and I pulled into a parking place. And he said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, we're going to park and go in. And he said, we never do that. So we went inside, and he suddenly started, he would be very polite to the person at the counter, but then he would be sitting there and he would just start waving at people. And they would wave back with a big smile on their face. And I thought, this is what we are all about. This is what we should be all about. It made my day, and I'm sure, I know he had a good time. But it's all part of giving back to everyone, making that special thank you to the person on the other end of the phone who was exceptionally nice, or giving a smile to the person you're greeting, or handing out extra tips whenever appropriate. Just being part of something that brightens the other person, puts a smile on their face, and you know the next person they meet is going to be something special. So I just wanted to tell you that I hope every one of you have that joy when you walk in here on Sunday morning, that you don't feel like, I had to come to church today, or I have a meeting after church and I had to be here today. But the fact that you are so excited to be part of this community, and that you can't wait to share it, and that we can give instead of always receiving. And that's what I would love to leave you with this morning. You've been a joy to me for the last few months, and I hope this all continues, and then we begin to realize we are truly a family filled with joy, a loving community, and part of God's world. So thank you.